In recent years, Capital One has been giving Chase and American Express a run for their money, where if you want maximum value and rewards, it would be a mistake to not consider what Capital One has to offer. Most, if not all of these cards are also very straightforward, unlike some issuers having trifectas and quadfectas, or having to activate quarterly offers, or giving you a million useless credits. That's not what Capital One is about. So in this video, we'll break down the key cards you should consider when it comes to Capital One, why they're so special, and who should consider which card. Now, right off the bat, one major difference between these Capital One cards compared to other issuers like Chase is that all of the cards we'll be talking about today have no foreign transaction fees. That means you won't pay the 3% extra charge when spending abroad, unlike cards like the Freedom Flex or the Unlimited. That means all of those special categories you get elevated miles or cashback on will work abroad too. Unlike cards like the Blue Cash Preferred, where it's limited to US supermarkets, for example. So with that said, the first card on this list is one that will fit in anyone's wallet and budget, as well as covering major categories everyone spends in. And with this card having no annual fee, it's almost a no-brainer, and that's with the Capital One Savor One card. Now, typically the standard target you should aim for with all of your credit cards is exceeding the 2% back for all of your spend with no restrictions or spending caps, which can be easily had on no annual fee cards like the Citi Double Cash card. But by adding on a card like the Savor One, you can elevate that cash back through getting 3% back on dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, and groceries, while getting 1% back on everything else. So for everything else, I would spend on the Double Cash or other cards instead, and solely focus on the 3% categories here. Say you spend $500 every month on groceries or $6,000 a year. That means at a 2% cash back, that's getting $120 back every year. Whereas with 3%, that's getting $180 back every year, a $60 difference, and that's only on grocery store spend with no extra fees. In fact, this card will also give you a $200 welcome bonus after $500 of spend in the first 3 months, a nice boost to start off your card journey. Honestly, this card is like a foodie's dream because not only is it free to hold year after year while giving you a solid 3% back on dining and groceries, you'll also get a whopping 10% back on Uber and Uber Eats spend, along with Uber One membership all the way to November 2024. For those of you who eat out a lot, get delivery or order pickup, or don't have a car and travel through Uber, that's a major bonus. Because at least in some major cities, one meal can run you $30 inclusive of taxes and fees. So saving 10% as well as having reduced fees and no delivery costs can save you like $5 per meal, which really adds up the more you spend with them. And if you love finding great restaurants and cafes wherever you travel to, don't forget you'll still earn the 3% back on those categories without paying those foreign transaction fees, which is quite unique on cards at this level. Now, especially if you're just starting out on your credit card journey or don't have a specific travel card yet, the Savor One gives you a sneak preview into a few travel perks. Like if you decide to book hotels or car rentals through their portal, which itself has a few unique perks to make sure you're getting the best deals, you'll be earning a solid 5% cashback. Or if you're into sports, concerts, or entertainment, keep an eye out on the Capital One Entertainment portal, giving you 8% cashback for purchases through there, or get early access to concerts like the Taylor Swift tickets. So overall, a great card that fits in anyone's wallet, which gives you great returns on common categories, as well as saving you a ton of money if you use services like Uber and Uber Eats. But now moving to card number 2, which is my favorite card that Capital One has to offer, but purely given its higher $3.95 in annual fees and higher credit requirement, I place it under the Savor One because the Savor One appeals to a wider audience. And that favorite card is, of course, the Capital One Venture X card, because even if you ignore everything else on the card, purely the multipliers and the credits alone are very straightforward to use and really help bring down that annual fee. So on the multipliers, you're getting 10 times on hotels and car rentals with $5 5 times on flights booked through the portal, but more importantly, 2 times on all other purchases with no categories and no limits. And that's important because it allows this card to both act as a travel card because of those multipliers and several other perks we'll talk about later, and a catch-all card giving the 2 times on everything else. Now, I have a video going over the best ways to redeem Capital One miles, but the most common ones are redeeming through travel, either through the portal or your own statement credit for 1 cent per mile, or transferring to one of Capital One's travel partners and redeeming for outsized value, similar to Chase and American Express. If you really want to get straight cash back, that'll only get you 0.5 cents per mile, but you probably aren't getting this card if you're solely going for cashback. Then the other best thing about this card are the credits you get. Remember, the annual fee is $395, but between the $300 in travel credit and $100 worth of miles every year, that more than covers the annual fee and makes it so it's like you're getting paid $5 a year to keep the card open, which is probably what you've heard thousands of times by now. Keep in mind that the $300 annual credit does reset every year, but the $100 worth of miles, or 10,000 miles, just gets deposited into your account so you can use that at any point. That said, even if you ignore all of those credits, purely the welcome bonus of 75,000 miles after 4,000 of spend in the first 3 months itself is worth at least $750 when it comes to travel, which is almost 2 times the annual fee. You'll also get a $100 credit to TSA PreCheck or Global Entry, which is once every 4 years. But on that note, let me know down below which one you have or want to get, because I'm kind of surprised more cards don't cover Nexus, or that it's not as widely known. It's cheaper and gives you all the benefits that the other 2 have and more, but that's getting off topic. Anyways, the Venture X, when combined with the Savor One, the card we talked about previously, make for a really powerful duo, where the Savor One can cover a bunch of common categories, giving you 3 times, and spend everything else on the Venture X, giving you 2 times. But didn't we just say that the Savor One was a cashback card? Well, you can actually convert that cash back into Venture miles at 1 mile to 1 cent. So instead of getting 3% cash back, you'll be getting 3 times miles instead. Now, of course, you wouldn't do that if you were going for straight cashback, given the value on Venture miles for that is just 0.5 cents per mile. But being able to combine those rewards into your Venture cards gives you some great opportunities to get outsized value. Let's go over some examples. If you want to fly domestically and say go to Hawaii, you can transfer over to British Airways Avios, then book American Airlines over to Hawaii for just 13,000 miles each way, valuing your points at over 1 cent per point. Or say you want to fly to Europe, you can take advantage of Virgin's partner with Delta and fly Delta One for just 50,000 miles. Or if you want to go to Asia, go through Aeroplan and book business class flights for as little as 55,000 points and up on some amazing airlines like ANA or EVA. Though being realistic, it will take significant effort to learn about these different partners, where the sweet spots are, and how to find and book these dates, which are usually 6 to 12 months out. Now, on the topic of travel, given this is a major travel card, there are several other benefits that will enhance your experience. First, you'll get lounge access to networks like Plaza Premium, where you can bring yourself and up to 2 guests, as well as Priority Pass, where you can bring all of your guests. Yes, there isn't a limit on the number of guests you can bring on your Priority Pass, which is unlike most other cards that limit you to up to 2 guests. So yeah, you can bring your whole extended family if you want. Just know that each individual lounge can enforce their own rules if they're getting too full. That said, because the Venture X allows you to add free authorized users, and then each of those users have their own benefit of bringing their own guests, you can expand the number of people you bring into Plaza Premium lounges by going through multiple players. But going into the future, as Capital One continues to expand their lounge presence, having access to those would give you yet another option in case those network-based lounges get too full. So that covers your at the airport situation. But once you're at your destination, you could be checking in at a hotel that you booked through the Premier Collection, which is their competitor to Chase's Luxury Hotel Collection or American Express Price's Hotel Collection or FHR, where booking through the network will give you a $100 experience credit, daily breakfast for 2, room upgrades when available, and more. Then if you're the type to enjoy driving when you're at the destination, then you can leverage Hertz President Circle to get guaranteed upgrades when renting a car from them, as well as status matches to equivalent programs like National Executive Elite, where you can get a free rental day for every 5 days. And then to enhance your travel experience as a whole, you'll have benefits like trip cancellation and interruption insurance, primary CDW, lost luggage, trip delay insurance, as well as purchase protection, extended warranty, return protection, and cell phone protection. Of course, when it comes to insurance though, you hope that you'll never need to use it, but if you end up having to, then using 1 or 2 of these perks can already put hundreds of dollars back into your pocket. The Venture X is a solid card, and most of the community seems to agree. So my main concern about this card that it's actually too good and they would devalue it in the future. So far there hasn't been major news or rumors, but if they do end up devaluing it at some point, hopefully existing cardholders get grandfathered in so they won't lose some of these amazing perks. Now, if you don't want to shell out $395 in annual fees, or you just think that you can't make use of those credits to make it worthwhile, yet you still want some travel perks and good redemptions, then you might want to consider the Capital One Venture card, which is like the light version of the Venture X. Although the annual fee is lower at $95, you still get some solid benefits, like earning 2 times miles on all of your purchases, or the same 75,000 mile welcome bonus after the same amount of spend, which is again at least $750 in value for travel, or in this case, over 7 times the annual fee. You'll also keep some form of lounge access with 2 free visits every year, which should be enough if you don't travel too often. Personally though, I do think this card needs some form of revamp because the Venture X is just that good, but this is still a solid pick if you don't want to pay the higher annual fees or you don't use the Capital One travel portal at all. Because with the welcome bonus essentially covering your annual fee, it's like getting a great catch-all card with great redemptions as well as some free lounge access. Alright, now if major travel isn't your thing or you want simplicity, then the straightforward Capital One Quicksilver card might be up your alley. Just like the Savor One from before, this card will also give you a couple $100 after $500 of spend in the first 3 months, but instead of 3% on some categories, you'll be getting a flat 1.5% back on all your spend, which is similar to cards like the Chase Freedom Unlimited. And again, even though this isn't a travel-centric card, you'll still get an elevated 5% back when booking hotels and car rentals through their own portal. On the downside though, that this cash back will stay as cash back. Unlike the Savor cards, you won't be able to convert this cash back into Venture miles. If you really want more Venture miles, then you might want to consider the Venture One card, which is a no annual fee card, but will give you 1.25 miles for every dollar spent. But back on this Quicksilver card, another benefit is getting 6 months of Uber One membership, which at a $10 a month value is still a $60 benefit. In fact, if you're a student, you can get the student version of this card that will give you the 10% back on Uber and Uber Eats purchases, as well as the Uber One through November of 2024. The only trade-off is you'll get a lower welcome bonus of $50 instead of $200, with a similar trade-off on the student version of the Savor One. So the Quicksilver card is a straightforward card that will give you a solid return for all of your non-category spend, with the added bonus of the Uber benefits and no foreign transaction fees. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention is that if you live by a Capital One cafe, which offers food and beverages, if you're a Capital One member and use a debit or credit card, including all the ones we talk about today, you'll get 50% off any handcrafted beverage, which can really add up over time if you're an avid coffee drinker. I believe the cafes are also run by Pete's Coffee too. Alright, now the next Capital One card card you want to consider is one that's really similar to the Savor One card, but different in a couple key ways. And that's with the Capital One Savor card. And here are the differences. One, the Savor card has a higher $95 annual fee, whereas the Savor One has $0. So what do you get for that extra fee? Well, first, you'll get the ability to get a higher welcome bonus of $300, but after $3,000 of spend in the first 3 months. If you were going to spend that anyways, it's a nice $100 extra, but that's a pretty major difference in minimum spend. Personally though, I think the main difference here is you'll be getting 4% back when spending on dining, eligible streaming, and entertainment, which is a 1% difference compared to the 3% on the Savor One. Now, 1% may not seem like that much, but depending on your spending habits, it could be a significant difference. For example, to make up for that extra 1% to break even from the $95 in annual fee, you'll need to spend at least $9,500 in those categories every single year, because that's the key distinction. 1% of that is $95. So the key question to ask is, do you think you'll spend more than $9,500 a year on dining, eligible streaming, and entertainment? If so, then the Savor card might be the better choice. But remember, you aren't just limited to one of these cards. You can mix and match your cards to maximize the return you get on your personal spend. Combine the Venture X and the Savor One, and you have the most powerful duo in the credit card game. Want solid cashback? Go for the Quicksilver or the Savor One card. Spend on dining a ton? Replace the Savor One with the basic Savor card. There are a ton of combinations you can do to maximize your rewards, especially when you can convert your Savor cashback into Venture miles and redeem for outsized value. But before you do any of that, be sure to check out this video for the best ways to use those Capital One miles. See you over there.